Hello and welcome to Studio RC, an encouragement for both your recovery and your faith. My name is Max. I am an alcoholic and I am also a follower of Jesus. So this week we're starting on a new adventure, and each week we're going to take a look at a different recovery church value. And we're going to do so, I'm going to try something I haven't tried. I'm going to put a little timer in the corner and I'm going to give myself 12 minutes to see what I can do on each value. I'll only have the 12 minutes and we'll go through each of the different values. What I wanted to do is just set it up, and this will be the same setup each week, and then we'll transition into whatever value of the week. But it's important to remember, you know, who are we and what do we do here at Recovery Church? Recovery Church Movement is a network of recovery churches reaching and training those in early recovery to grow in their faith and their recovery. Recovery Church Movement is a bridge between the 12-step fellowships and the church. We train, coach, and help people learn to become disciple makers within the recovery community and to start, plant, and reproduce recovery churches. That's who Recovery Church is. That's what we do. Now, our vision, our Recovery Church vision is this: a recovery church in every city in this nation and beyond. And we have taken a look, I think there's something like 15,000 cities in our nation, and so we're looking at that and looking at ways that we can continue to expand and continue to have recovery churches in each and every one of those locations, in addition to your online resources such as Studio RC or our RC online campus, our High Five at 420. So we have all these different stories, different ways that we can help those, both the physical locations as well as giving digital resources as well. And so our mission, we've did our vision and our mission. Our mission is equipping God's people to do God's work of recovery. So we have who we are and what we do, we have our vision, and we have our mission. And that will set us up each week to go into exploring a different value. And we'll review this each week, and then we'll go into the value of the week. And so over the next several weeks, we're going to look at various values. And again, I'm going to take 12 minutes on a clock and see how far and how much we can get covered. I may have to speed talk, but that's okay. So hopefully you're ready, and this will be something that'll be informative also of who, again, Recovery Church is, and who the very essence of us and our values and the things that we do value. So let's get started on this week's value. This week's value is community. Community. So let's put up the 12 minutes, boop, and let's go. Recovery Church Value Community, it states this: we value and are part of the greater community, and therefore work with people, organization, and churches to help serve others in and out of recovery. Let me read that again. Community, we value and are part of the greater community, and therefore work with people, organizations, and churches to help serve others in and out of the community. Before I jump into any of the scriptures or any of the big book references, I want to just break down the value as it is stated. One of the things as Recovery Church that we value and are a part of is the greater community, the larger community. And what this is referring to, there's a couple different references here. Your local community, you have a local recovery community, you have a local faith community, and you have a local just social services community. There's a community that's larger than Recovery Church, and we value that, and we're part of the larger community, both all those that recovery, faith, social service, like we're part of that community, and we want to assist in that. And therefore, because we're a part of that and we value that, we work with people, organizations, and churches to help serve others in and out of recovery. So it's not, our focus doesn't have to exclusively be on just people in recovery. There will be opportunities. Let's say, they're having a day to clean the park. Recovery Church can be, because we're part of the larger community, we can go out and we can help, that Saturday morning and clean the park. Not everything that we have to do is necessarily for the recovery community, although we can do that too. Maybe we bring a Recovery Church meeting, like maybe an open discussion meeting, into a prison or an institution of some sort. And so we're serving the community and the others in recovery by going into other places. Much like a lot of the 12-step programs have jails and institutions where they get opportunities to speak or lead meetings. We, as Recovery Church, could do that as well. One of the things that I think that we might struggle with, because at Recovery Church, we're very focused on our own campus and making sure that our campus is functioning and doing well, is I think that sometimes we miss the opportunities that we have in community. Now, we also have community in Recovery Church, although that a lot of that looks like fellowship, but when we're talking about community as a value for Recovery Church, it's a community that we serve. And think of community as your neighborhood, people, like the society, the people that associate around you. And so we have opportunities to work with, in other words, partner with people or organizations or churches to help serve others, both in and out of recovery. There could be strategic partnerships that we as Recovery Church, like as a campus, might make. And maybe there's a ministry, like some sort of organization that feeds people. And so maybe Recovery Church partners with the food kitchen or the soup kitchen, whatever. And part of that, in serving at the soup kitchen, we also know that some of the people at the soup kitchen, they may have drug and alcohol issues as well. So that some of those strategic partnerships, as you talk with, maybe you can offer a meeting on that, once a month that you go on Saturdays or something. That we have thinking creatively on how we can get the word of recovery and faith out to people. The vision for Recovery Church, and I think that this is important in regards to community and informs how we interact with the community. Recovery Church the vision is for a Recovery Church to be in every city or every community in the nation and beyond. And we know as a Recovery Church staff, Recovery Church movement, there are a little over 15,000 towns in our nation. And we're not limited to that, but it's our vision to have a Recovery Church in every one of those communities, every one of those cities. If we're going to do that, we need to value community, but we also need to partner with community. And it could look a couple different ways in regards to how we plant a Recovery Church. One way, and is a way that many Recovery churches get started, they get started under the umbrella of a church. And that church provides them with space and some funding. When we have that, a church that's willing to support a Recovery Church launch, there's a lot of security there in regards to financial security. You often have a space to provide it, but sometimes maybe you lack some of the creativity or the freedom that you might want to have, because maybe you're using the a particular space, and they're like, no, you can't put up a mural of, Recovery Church on the wall. Maybe you can, but there might be some constrictions, but you have the security of knowing you have a place, and maybe you don't have to pay rent and some of those things. Well, you could go independently, and where you're just Recovery Church and you're looking for a space. Now, you have total freedom with that, but you lack some of the security that might come with being attached to a specific church. You might not have the resources to do some of the things you want to. Maybe you have to fundraise. So there are different ways. Now, one way is sort of a hybrid way that you could plant a church and, again, partner or work with the community is maybe you go into a community and you get 5 churches together and say, we want to launch this Recovery Church, and we want to do it in partnership so that it's not just, XYZ church that has Recovery Church. It's a community-wide effort. And maybe, each church will offer somebody who will come and speak once a month or maybe once a quarter. And you partner with multiple churches, because one of the things at Recovery Church is we're not in competition with other churches. We're not in competition, even as our values go, and we're not in competition with the 12-step program. We're not in competition with the church. We're a bridge to both. And so maybe unifying and coming and saying, hey, we're going to come into this town. And when we come into this town and we're going to launch a Recovery Church, we want to partner with the community. And, and maybe there's an organization that says, fighting the drug epidemic is high on our list. It might even be a Rotary or a Moose's Lodge. I don't know. I don't know how all that works, but finding partners that are, strategically want to partner with Recovery Church. There's a sharing of DNA, and part of why we're doing this series in regards to the values is so that you would know, but there are different ways that we can be creative and partner with the community, with people, organization, and churches. And so I just encourage you to think outside the box. Let me share with you a couple scriptures as well as some passages from the big book. From Acts 2, it tells us 42 through 47. This is what a picture of community looks like. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teachings and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold properties and possessions to give to one another who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes, and they ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. This is the Acts picture of community, of what a thriving, active community is. In a passage in the big book, it tells us, these men had found something brand new in life. Though they knew they must help other alcoholics if they would remain sober, that motive became secondary. It was transcendent by the happiness they found in giving themselves for others and service to the others, to the community. They shared their homes, their slender resources, and gladly devoted their spare hours to fellow sufferers, fellow alcoholics, fellow addicts. They were willing by day or night to place a new person in the hospital and visit them afterward. They grew in numbers. So the community in early AA looked a lot like the early church. There's a parallel there. It tells us on page 89 in the big book, life will take on new meaning. To watch people recover, to see them help others, to watch loneliness vanish, to see a fellowship grow up, about you, to have a host of friends. This is an experience you must not miss. We know you will not want to miss it. Frequent contact with newcomers and each other is the bright spot of our lives. In other words, that service community is important. Now, it tells us that community helps confer our immunity to a drink. And 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. Surrounding yourself by sober people helps you in your sobriety." We're encouraged that community embraces divinity. It helps us to grow. It tells us in Proverbs 27:17, "As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another." Again, the value of community. And it tells us in the big book, as we entered the world of the Spirit, our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. It's not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. And then the final idea as our time runs out is community provides opportunities. In other words, to pass it on. Matthew 18:20 says, "For where 2 or 3 gather in my name, there I am with you." In other words, that idea of community. And then finally in Hebrews 10:24 and 25, let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together. So there's multiple elements of this community value that you should consider. Not only the community that we are building at each physical location for Recovery Church, or even on our online platform, but each community there, but the greater community at large, and the people and the organizations and the churches that we can partner with is endless. We don't have to do this alone. We want to partner with people that share our understanding and are going in the same direction. But even so, maybe it's a short-term partnership, or maybe it's just a partner. We partner with just a part of the organization or something that they're doing. There's so many different ways that Recovery Church can be in community and help add value to the community. So hopefully today, this is a value that I think that we sometimes don't always put as much energy or effort into, especially off the campus of Recovery Church. I would encourage you, I would challenge you on some level to think about community in a new and creative way. So God bless you. Thank you so much for coming to Studio RC. We encourage you to like this podcast, this video, to share it with others, to subscribe. That way, again, we just have the opportunity to further the reach of Recovery Church and what is happening both in the recovery world and in the faith world, and specifically as it comes together in Recovery Church. And remember, as Recovery Church says, 12 steps, one goal. God bless, and we'll see you next time at Studio RC.